friends, and welcome back to another episode of Joypad Podcast. Nailed it. My name is Megan, as I hope you know by now, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tom, Fleming, and Pinto. Look at that. Look at that. And there's a cat in the background. There. Cool. Anyway, I hope everybody is having a good day and or night. And I'm gonna stop talking and let's go with Pinto. How are you? What are you drinking? What are you playing?
I'm good. I am drinking a Celsius Peach Vibe again. It's probably a bad idea because it's technically an energy drink. And it's almost 10 p.m. But my sleep schedule is just... It doesn't exist. I'm basically just freestyling at this point, so... It's all good. I don't have work until 4 p.m. tomorrow anyways.
There you go.
Oh,
that's right.
That's amazing.
I have mostly been playing multiplayer games recently because I coerced the boys into playing War Selection again. So we've been doing that quite a bit. I recently bought India. I got enough tech points to purchase India as my next country, and haven't really done much with it because we decided to start playing The Forest instead. And then I decided to strike out on my own in The Forest and do a solo play, and as I told Fleming earlier, that solo play has mostly consisted of about 4 to 5 hours of just gathering rocks. Just running in circles, picking up 5 rocks, adding them to a wall, running around, picking up 5 rocks, adding them to a wall, occasionally going out and getting fish, because I need to eat, drying the fish, going around, picking up 5 rocks, adding them to the wall. I'm pleased to say progress is being made. The wall is almost complete, and I'll tell you what, man, the cannibals paid for it. It's great. The greatest wall.
What wall are you building?
So I'm building a stone wall,
Mm-hmm.
but when you build a wall, it's only like thigh height, so you can add another layer to it to make it taller, which puts it at about human height. But some of the monsters in the forest can jump very high. They've got springy spider legs. So I added a third tier to that to make it probably like 9 to 10 feet high. But
that's a castle wall.
Yeah, and
that's a lot.
It's probably taken over 1,000 rocks thus far. And I'd say I'm like 60 to 75% of the way there because I have to add like a palisade gate to it so I can enter and exit. But, you know, I haven't done anything else. I haven't gone into a cave. I haven't even found a freaking deer yet. But
Like a zip line, bruh.
I did get captured and dragged into the cave because when you play single player, if the cannibals beat you up, they don't kill you immediately. They drag you down into the caves and you can escape. Whereas in multiplayer, they just kill your ass. And then you respawn on the plane. So I think that's about it. Oh, I've been playing Resident Evil 4 again, because that's a good game. And
nice.
The remake, I think, comes out in about 6 months. I think it's February next year. February is always like the big, like, this is when all the games are coming out. It's like right before Christmas and then February. Which, coincidentally, Sons of the Forest has been pushed back to February, too. But we decided to start playing it again
for now.
Anyways. For now.
For now.
I think that's it. I don't really think I've been playing much else. So I will pass it off to Mr. Michael Fleming. How are you doing? What are you drinking? Is your cat still upset at you? And what have you been playing?
Oh, she wasn't that upset, but no, she has left the room. She may return. We'll see. But for now, she's not here tonight. I am drinking some iced tea in a unsponsored Starbucks cup. So Starbucks, there's your opportunity to throw us some money for that advertisement, please. No, it's actually home. It's actually Turkey Hill iced tea in particular. I know it's not even like a Starbucks or like a homemade or something. I also have water in case I get to that. But in games, I have been playing Europa Universalis 4, and that's because I didn't want to learn Crusader Kings. So I just said, I'm going to play this one because I know how to play this. So I played that a lot this weekend. You've already kind of mentioned the forest, and that has been fun. I think it's a good game, and we played War Selection, like you said too, which I think has been good as well. The game still has overall problems that like they'll never fix. You
The
know,
maps.
way too big of maps, island games where there's not enough resources. It's not even islands, it's just not enough resources. And you can't limit it to like 4 players or 3 players. You have to play, bigger, or it feels like you're always playing bigger games, even if you try to select smaller games. We played a couple twos, Pinto and I think, right? We played 1 or 2 of them. They were pretty good. But if you have threes, you can't do 3v3. And I also have been playing Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, which came out last year. I got it when it first came out, and I played it then, and I've been playing it again. It's a really fun game. It's got its own challenges. Control is a little weird with units. Villagers are so essential, and you basically never stop making them until you hit like 100, and the games are often over by then. And every villager has a lot of value. Losing just one can make you significantly behind. Or if you have a villager that you don't use for some reason, it gets like stuck, or say you just don't notice that it's idle, or you don't make a villager on time, you really fall behind in that game. So it's a really challenging game. But I've been playing a little bit of that too. I think that's basically it. I don't think I've been playing much else. Yeah, cool. We'll, I'm sure, talk more about the forest or other multiplayer games during tonight's chat. So enough about me. Tom, how you doing? How's your Madden world? Are you annoyed by Madden? And what are you drinking? And if you're playing anything else, you can let us know that too.
No.
Madden's dumb. I played a little Madden just a minute ago, but my Face of the Franchise quarterback campaign is still stuck on a cutscene that I can't get past because Madden is dumb. My running back one is working, but they also do dumb shit. Like when I was with the Bills, they would never take me out of the game, but I signed with the Bears, and they just randomly take me out of the game for plays. And when they do that, I don't get to control what happens. So they'll do something stupid, or they'll do something great, which is fine. But normally they'll do it like at the end of a quarter when you have to call a timeout at the right moment. And then they'll put me back in, and this just happened. And I won't know that the clock is running because I didn't see what play they just ran. And then I'll go to the huddle, and there's an automatic runoff, and it kills all the clock, and the game ends in a tie because I didn't get a chance to run one more play. Super job, man. Great job. Good design. I've been playing other games because A, my life doesn't revolve around Madden, although I do enjoy it, and B, Madden is broken pretty much, like I said. So I played a good amount of Power Wash Simulator on my own because I have no self-respect.
I've done it. I won't lie.
Listen, it feels really good sometimes,
Mhm.
and then you get to the end, like it feels good getting like 50% of the way through, and then you're like, well, I'm committed now. And then by the time you're at 98%, your hand hurts, and you go, why did I do this to myself? And then it finishes, and you're like, fuck yeah, and then you start another one. That's how
exactly.
Power Wash cycle goes. Power Wash Simulator cycle, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that eats up a lot of time, guys. Can I just be honest?
You
can
don't
just
even
play
realize it.
No. You'll sit down at 9 o'clock and be like, I'll play a little bit of Power Wash Simulator. Next thing you know, it's 4 a.m.
Yeah.
You've grown a beard you didn't know you were capable of growing.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to you, Megan. You do a good job of taking care of it.
Thank you.
I mean, not playing Power Wash Simulator just keeps it right off. So, but yeah, it's it's an interesting thing. And then I played a little bit of Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes again, a little just for a couple missions the other day. It's still a really good game. I just get tired of those games from time to time, so I can't just like keep playing it forever. Unlike how I can play a regular Fire Emblem game forever, but like a Warriors game, I'm just kind of like, let's slow that down. Let's slow that down for a minute. But yeah, that's about what I've been playing. I'm trying to think if there's been anything else, but I don't think there is. I have a whole trunk of freaking games in Steam that I'm like, oh, I should get around to that. Oh, I should get around to that one. And I get around to 0 of them. Hi, everyone. This is me along with you because we all do this. Anyway, Megan, I'll throw it to you. What beverage are you enjoying? Oh, by the way, I have a seltzer and coffee and water. Yay. And what games have you been playing? And what you want to talk about? It's Madden, right?
It is always Madden. You know I'm a big sportser. I'm enjoying a cola beverage that I will not say the name of unless you decide to sponsor me, and I will say I'm drinking whatever it is.
RC?
Yeah, we all know it's
RC.
Royal Crown Cola. Come on.
It's deep RC pockets.
Always. But yeah, I'm doing okay. I just got back from Ohio yesterday, and it was a long 8.5 hours in one day. So I wish I took the day off from work, but I did not do that because I don't know. As for what am I playing? I got the Last of Us remake last week. Came out on Friday. I started that. I didn't get too far into it just because it was late by the time I got home, but I wanted to start it. It plays really nice, I will say. I didn't realize how clunky the first game was until after playing part 2. And I think Pinto and I had this discussion as well. But they completely rebuilt a lot of it. Graphically, it looks really nice, and gameplay-wise, same thing. It's pretty smooth. So I'm excited to play through that and see if it continues. Regardless, I'll still be happy because it's a franchise that I love, and I think we all have a special place in our hearts for The Last of Us. Maybe not part 2, but definitely part 1, which is what they're calling it now.
I like part 2.
Yeah, I really enjoyed part 2. But yeah, so I started that. I've been playing The Raft solo and with another group of friends that
How dare you?
It's not all of you. I'm very sorry, but I made it to a new place. So I'm very excited to get back into it with all of you and see where it goes. As for anything else, I really can't think of any other games that I've been playing. Just those two. That's about it.
No more Cult of Lamb?
That kind of went by the wayside for now, but I will jump back in and play that.
I did the same thing.
I do like it. It is a lot of fun. But there are just other things that took priority, or at least my interest over that. That's about it for me. As far as what we're talking about this week, I don't know. We don't really have a topic. I don't have a topic. I know it's my week, and I'm sorry. Deal with it. If you want to hear us talk about something in particular, yell at us on the internet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know what, audience? It's your fault for not sending us a topic.
There are only 4 of us, and there are so many of you.
Yeah, there are infinity of you.
Infinity.
You're an algorithmic function. We are a finite number. Get on it.
Yeah. So if anyone has anything they'd like to chat about, feel free. But I'm super excited that you guys are playing The Forest again.
We decided to because you posted, I think it was like Thursday, Friday, whenever you posted about it being delayed, and I know that like with the Raft, for example, which Raft, which we've been playing, like we decided we wanted to restart right when they released the final chapter. We actually have not even gotten through the final chapter stuff yet, but I think it's a good way to like prepare yourself for the next release. And I know that we've talked almost 8 months now about playing The Forest again, and we were saying, oh, if the game comes out, next month or the month after, we'll play it, potentially record some pieces of it or do something. And we just, got kind of frustrated. So Pinto mentioned it the other night, and we were just thinking, you know what? Let's just go play that because it was a fantastic game, and I feel like we ended, like we talked about going back to it, and we never did. And there was a lot of things that we wanted to do. So I know Pinto and I want to build like a really large, city-ish fort kind of thing.
And Tom wants to build Zipline Empire.
And Tom
All
wants to
of the
build the Great
zip
Wall of
lines.
zip
Yeah.
lines
I want
across
zip
the map.
lines.
So like there's a lot of things we want to do. So I think we want to get back into it, and it is such a good game. It was really well developed, and there's very few bugs. There's a couple of things that I've already noticed. We noticed bonfires seem to break a lot for no reason. But otherwise, like it's a very well designed game, and kudos to them. So we should enjoy it more.
Definitely.
The customization makes it a fun experience. Like I think that's what I like about that game, because you basically have Minecraft light in terms of what you can do. Like you can't dig into the earth or extract precious metals and smelt or anything like that, but you have a more realistic take where you build shelters and design goofy traps and bridges and janky shit, and it's cool. You can make zip lines. One of the first things I did was make a freaking zip line because I like zip lines. Come at me, anti-zipline internet.
And
that's right.
As usual, one of our first experiences was Tom and Fleming just building up the base, and me going, I had to go off and do. I don't know. I spent like an hour searching
Try
for
not to die.
turtles. It didn't go well. It took me so long to find a turtle on my own, and then I was like, I'm gonna go just try and find a boar. Nothing. It didn't happen. I didn't die or anything. Like I survived, but I was just frustrated at the lack of progress that I made doing the things I intended to do.
But you followed your MO, which is to run off on your own and do something.
Yeah.
But you didn't die, and that's
I didn't
important.
die. That's the
Nice.
important part. And then like
think-
we haven't really gone into the caves yet, but there's stuff like you could find a katana. I don't think we found the katana on our first run through. We didn't, right?
No.
I can't remember.
You
I
can
don't
build
think so.
And then like you can find the gun, and I think there's a crossbow that you can find too, which we never
Yeah.
found. And then I was telling them the other night too that so there's two different endings to the game. Spoilers. One, you save Timmy, and he goes home with his 4 dads, and everyone lives happily ever after. But apparently not, since there's a sequel. Or 2, you shut down the machine, and the game keeps going. And you find, like, the beacon that you can summon hordes of cannibals, which we've talked about doing, when I hope we actually get to do. But there's also a secret super boss, which I heard was called the Worm. But then Fleming looked it up, and apparently its name is John. But there's a
Johnny Worma.
That's less exciting.
there's a 5% chance, I think, of John spawning, and he's a big ol' badass super boss that you can try and take down. And I like stuff like that personally, so
Who's that? Oh, it's just John.
it's just John.
John, I told you to stay out of my garden. Can you not just... I know there's delicious blueberries in it. Can you please just respect the fence? Just respect the fence, John.
That's a really good like general topic though, that like we've talked a little bit about like 100%ing games and like late game content and things. I struggle to do that because, to Tom's point earlier about backlogs of games, I feel like I have so many games I want to play that it's like, do I really want to spend 8 to however many hours, another day's worth of playing to build up my base and then get to experience the worm one time. Like it's kind of those kind of things always hurt.
Anytime, my guy.
Oh no.
Got him. But no.
Bazinga.
Slurms McKenzie, ride the walrus.
No, but it's just like those kind of things are just tough because it's like, you have a limited amount of time. You've already played the game. On this earth and time to play the game. So it's one of those where it's like, do you want to spend your time getting to 100%? Like we have a friend, we've talked about him plenty, but Dave, like he 100%s every game, and it's just like, is this really like, do you really want to do that, or do you want to get a whole nother game or two in for all the time you're spending 100%ing? And I personally fall in the line of, maybe in a multiplayer it'd be different, but I don't really, once I've beaten the game or experienced all the content that like kind of comes naturally, I'm not as, especially solo, like, oh, I got 100% a game.
I don't go back for trophies unless it's tied to something particularly that I feel like I missed out on.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this has come up before, and like how I've talked about how I played like games like Detroit and Origami Killer, Heavy Rain, different games like those where you kind of got the experience that you got. You hit the end, that's good, you know. Although nothing against 100% in games, I think it's good that there's something out there that gives people something more to extract from a game, and make it last a little bit longer. But I'm old, I don't have kids, and I have way too many games. So, and I also know that 50% of my gaming time is allotted to a game with no end and no future, which is called Madden 23. So,
until it becomes Madden 24.
Exactly, it's an awful
continues.
cycle. Yep.
I have a lot of friends that are very much into like completing 100%. I don't care. I'm going to get the most out of the first playthrough that I can, and probably never return to the game. Like, there are very few games that I will sit down, go back, and play again. I just don't care enough. And unless, like you said, Tom, like there's something else that I can gain from it that I didn't maybe see the first time, that I might go back through or just start from that point if possible, and carry on. But I don't know. Like Elden Ring, there are a few bosses that I didn't fight, because I just got to a point where I wanted to be done with the game. Not because I was tired of it, but I just, I wanted to move on and play something different because I had spent so much time with it. So there's some trophies that I didn't get. I think I maybe have like 60-70%, but I'm probably never going back to play it unless there's DLC.
One exception I'll say, like adventure games like Fallout and like Skyrim,
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love doing side content. Like I can't keep myself from doing side content in those games.
Yeah.
But it's just if it's rewarding like that, and I feel like I'm getting something out of the exploration and the journey as well, which is what I think you get in those games. Grand Theft Auto does that too. Like if you have a side mission in Grand Theft Auto. But like if I get any sort of sense of exploration out of something, I really like it. Outer Worlds did a great job with that too. I am still very excited about Outer Worlds too.
I still haven't finished that game.
Oh, it's so good. The ending is so satisfying too, Megan. It's just so satisfying.
Yeah, I think it's that's probably what I would agree with Tom. Adventure games where you have so many options to change the game and make it a different experience, right from the start, is definitely has a lot of replayability. Something like an RPG where you really don't, like, you might have a few different like events that can happen different. You might change it, but you might go back and play those. But generally, you're like still like, well, the story's the exact same. These people have to die, or this event has to occur. I can't avoid this. In those cases, I don't feel as much replayability as just like play that one section a couple times to experience all the stories, or at least watch somebody else on YouTube who's played them all, so I can see all the different dialogue or other kinds of things. So I don't really find myself replaying, honestly, like any game. It's very rare. Even something like Skyrim, which you mentioned, if I've played all the content, if I go like, oh, I'll replay it again, it's like I'll replay it with a new character, and then as soon as I get to the character creation screen, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to I don't want to be a Khajiit or whatever. I just want to go back to what I was doing before. And then it's like
the same character.
Then it's like,
build.
well, why am I playing again?
Like,
yeah, it's like, well, why am I playing again then? So I just stop right away. But I get some games where you do have those, like, in that game you can play as two different for the Civil War. I wanted to do that, so I went back and played specifically to do that again. But the story, as a whole, becoming being the dragon, the Dovahkiin, and fighting all the dragons and ultimately saving the world kind of thing. Like all of that is the exact same. So I didn't worry about that. I just did some of the side missions where you can take, someone else's side or do something slightly different or perform the actions in a different way. I replayed those, but that's just all I did.
Yeah, that's what I think is fun about those games and gives them that replayability is the difference in outcomes. Because there's other games where you can try and do something different and the outcome's the same, and you're just kind of like,
Yep.
What's the point? Because like Mass Effect is a game I would say I would go back and replay. A, because there's so much difference in the story depending on what you do, but B, also because I enjoy the combat and the exploration scenery and everything in there. Do I want to talk to everybody again and get my voice stuck as like the shop logo for everybody where it goes, I'm Commander Shepard and this is my favorite shop on the Citadel? No, I don't care. I just want to like get through the critical moments and do things right, like not get my crew killed at the end of the second game, So, yeah, I don't know. There are games that definitely load up on replayability with stuff like that, and then other ones where it's Power Wash Simulator and you finish your round and you're done. You go to the next one if there is one,
See, I will say I will play something like a Heavy Rain or Dark Picture. I'll play that again because there's so much, not so much, but there's enough to see by making different choices.
Yeah.
That I can get into it and replay it again. Even oh wow, holy cow, The Quarry. What was it? Something like 186 different endings or something ridiculous, I think I read that it has. Just like the amount of dialogue in that game, there are so many possibilities. So I find myself playing those games again, mostly because I want to see, if I can get a TPK.
Nice.
Honor The Quarry, though, like a story-based game. Telltale games, I did not go back and play them again.
No,
because they are what I meant when I said like a story still ends up with the same result. That is a game where you're going to end up with, generally speaking, the same result, even if like, in the Walking Dead ones, even if you're a dick to Clementine the whole time, she's still going to be sad when you die or whatever. So like those kind of things. What's that?
So am I.
Yeah. So it's one of those where it's like it doesn't really matter, and like there's a couple dialogue changes or whatever, but generally the story's the exact same. You can't dramatically change it.
Right. You might get a different cutscene, but still something is going to happen to either that person or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yep, exactly. Pinto, you're so quiet, and I know you replay a lot of RPGs and stuff, and I want to hear your opinion of why you do them.
Because my life is a wreck, and I return to things that comfort me instead of trying new things, basically.
Perfect.
Okay.
Good answer.
I live in a world of nostalgia, and new things scare me, so I just return to the things that make me feel comfort, so I don't cry when I go to sleep at night.
I feel like I do the same thing.
Just hug
there's certain games, right, that like just if you may have played it a dozen times, but you go back and play it again, and it's such a fun experience. Like I know Mario RPG is a big one for you. Chrono Trigger is a big one for me. Like I know the story fairly well. I know that there's minor changes that can happen, but it's generally again the same story. But there's just something so iconic about the characters and the experience that I could go back and play that, if I have the time at any time.
Yeah, and I think that's part of, like, I don't know. I'm so mixed on, like, remakes and remasters, too. Like, I have very mixed opinions on them. So, the Last of Us, are they part one, of course. Is it, what are they calling it? Like, remake, remaster? Did they even...
It's a remake.
Right, because they rebuilt it from the ground up. They redid the engine. They upgraded everything. And... I gotta be honest, so many people online, and as we all know, it's the internet, But so many people were just shitting on it, being like, oh,
Yeah.
Naughty Dog just wants money. Don't buy this game. Don't give them money for releasing the same game 3 times in a row or whatever. It's like, okay, I get it. But, you know, the same people that decry that are the same people buying Call of Duty or Madden or the same game that comes out every year.
Yep.
Where they're not taking that effort and that care to remake it and put that amount of effort into it. Like, Megan, you're completely right when you said, if you go back and play The Last of Us Part 1 after playing The Last of Us Part 2, combat sucks. The controls kind of suck. Like,
it's garbage.
It's hard to play. You go back to it and you're like, damn, I was good at this game. What happened? And then you realize you just got used to the shitty controls. Then, so, I don't know. And, like, I've been playing Chrono Cross, and it's almost done. And it really doesn't look that much better than the original. It looks a little less jagged. You know, they upped the polygon count, and they redid the soundtrack so that it's more orchestral and less digital. It's really, I mean, it's the same game. They didn't change anything except make it look shinier. But
Square Enix has really gotten into doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crap. I forget what I was going to say. Yes. The price point, though. That's the thing, too. Like, Chrono Cross was $20. I'm willing to pay $20 for that. Because, especially, if you try to find an original PS1 copy, you're going to be paying out the nose for it. You're going to be paying like $90 at least for a hard copy of the game, probably.
Damn.
It's the same thing for a lot of those, like, original PS1 copies. Or, you know, try finding Pokemon Pearl, a cartridge. You're going to be paying at least $100. No box, no, like, just the cartridge in a plastic bag. So
Heart Gold, Soul Silver, like that too. That was a huge pain in the ass.
So, like, I'm very mixed on these things. I'm glad it's giving people a chance to play it. You know, a ton of people are going to say, oh, we'll just emulate it. Come on, support.
Yeah.
If you like games, support the gaming industry. But I still kind of feel like $60 was kind of steep for The Last of Us Remake. If it had been $40, 40 I'd agree to. 60 feels a little rough.
And that's if you just bought the game and you're not an asshole like myself and bought the next up, like the Firefly edition. But I don't know.
That comes with sweet gear, right?
It does. It comes with the game, steel case, which is pretty neat looking, digital bonus content, and a reissue of I forget what the comic is called, but the comic that's like a prequel to Left Behind, which is really cool. I've only ever read a digital copy of it, so to actually have 4 issues of the comic is really nice.
See, I like the swag set.
Yeah.
If there's and especially with an established game that you know you're buying like a remake of something you've already played and enjoyed.
Right.
I don't mind shelling up for that.
No.
And
it's
that's
something to add to my collection because I have Ellie back there and Ellie there, and I have Joel somewhere. So I will say though, I was when I was in Ohio, I went to the mall and they had like an independent game store. I forget what it was called, but they had a collector's edition of the Resident Evil 2 remake there, but it was $650, which is, I think, outrageous. Like maybe $200, but $600 because they're not doing it anymore. But $650 for an RE2 remake collector's edition.
Did it come with things?
It was the original package and everything. I think I'm trying to remember what it came with. Like, I feel like maybe there was a statue, but maybe not. I think there was like a keychain, some patches, some stickers, like a map. I don't
Nothing
It
worth
wasn't worth it.
$650.
I wonder if it was one of those kind of things though. So I'm not a retailologist,
Yes,
but
you
in my spare time, I moonlight as one. But if I had to guess, especially an
Humble.
independent store, my guess is that they were able to get it for a reasonable price, or it was like theirs that they never opened for some reason. And
Right.
it's one of those to keep you in the store or to bring your friends back to show you. So like
Yeah.
it's one of those where you're like, they're never expecting to sell it. But if you said, hey, they have an original, Resident Evil 2 remake box in the store, let's go look at it or whatever. Like that's really cool. I mean, it's taking floor space. So again, I'm not a retailologist, except just a
Yeah.
moonlighting one. But I wonder if maybe it's one of those that it's for kind of it's almost more of like
it's a showpiece.
a showpiece than I guess like a something they're trying to sell, unless someone wants to shell out $650.
No, that's exactly what I was thinking too. And I mean, with the non-video game example, there's like a fancy rock store, the mall near us, and they have just these giant like rock formations. It's like $1,000 if you want to buy this one. And I'm like, no one is going to spend, like, no one's going to come into the mall and buy a gigantic rock for $1,000 and walk away with this. This is just for people to go like, wow, that's what $1,000 rock looks like. I wonder what else they have in here.
If I had the money, I'd probably buy $1,000 rock. I mean, if it's a dope rock, I would like put it in my living room. I won't lie.
Maybe
it was $1,000 dope. I mean, like I could spend $1,000 on a lot more dope things than that rock.
Yeah, but I'm saying if I had like fuck you money,
Well, I'd buy the whole store if I had fuck you money, but
the position of fuck you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm guessing that's what it's for. One of those that's designed for that. But still, like, it's an insane amount of money that, like, I would never personally buy it, but I guess maybe there's somebody out there who would decide, to get that.
Right.
Not me. I don't know.
Yeah, like
there's still some places out there clearing out like Call of Duty fridges and stuff like that too,
That's
but
true.
I mean, I think when you do run across some things that are a little bit more unique like that, you at least get talking about it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely working as a showpiece, whether that's the intention or not. And it's it's drawing people to the store. But there was a place near me that I've heard is closed down, but they were also an independent retailer, and I think I've talked about this before. They always had these really expensive copies of Ark the Lad that were real old hanging around, and I don't think anyone ever bought them, but it was always something that I remembered about the store. So I mean, I think having something like that is kind of cool. But
yeah, and they did have some nice. Oops, sorry.
It's okay. No, I'm just thinking, like, if I were to own like some store like that, I probably would, like, if I had, actually, I'm sure I have mine somewhere, but like two original Game Boys, one with like Pokemon Red and one with Pokemon Blue, like in the Game Boy as like almost a display piece, and charge like $1,000 if you want the original Game Boy and the original cartridge. You could buy them both. Like I would never buy it. I would never expect anyone to buy it, but it'd be one of those where it's like, wow, they have like original pieces, especially if you're, selling you have a used section. It gets people to look at the rest of the used games because you've got that, really rare. Or it'd be the same as like Final Fantasy Tactics. I know that goes for an insane amount of money, the original like CD version or whatever. So
really,
yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. I think I have one too.
I have one, but it's greatest hits, but I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, that's okay.
Isn't it weird how that like affects the price so much?
Mm-hmm.
The greatest hits thing.
Stuff like that just makes me think of like, boy, money just isn't real.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like books when they're like first edition books, and people freak out over getting first editions versus like second or third pressings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's the same book. It's the same game. But I don't know. I from a collector's point of view, so much of it is the aesthetic. And I know with those greatest hits, they slap that nice green label on them for that PlayStation acid wash thing. Oh, actually, when I went to get mine, I was like, "Do you have a non-greatest hits version?" Me as like a 12-year-old was like, could I please get one that doesn't have this green label? And they said, no, that's all they had. So I said, okay.
You got to play the game, right?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
Oh man, I really, really wish they would do something with that universe, or even that, like, I think they're releasing a new Tactics Ogre game, which is very much...
Oh yeah, I heard they were working on it.
But, like, I miss those games. They need something... I just like tactical games. When's XCOM 3 coming out? Damn it.
Have you beaten Chimera Squad yet?
Shut up, Tom. No, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't beaten XCOM 1. You know, I started it a little bit, and then I was like, I'll get back to this. And I never did. Because it's on my phone. It's awesome, but I'm not really using my phone very often, like for game purposes.
I got 5 hours in XCOM 2 and stopped. I have Chimera Squad, and I've never loaded it up. But yeah, I would love Final Fantasy Tactics 2. I guess we'll see. I mean, Tactics Ogre 2 could be cool. I could see them also. I mean, I'm not sure if they've done this already or not. If they've remastered Tactics Ogre to begin with.
I don't believe so.
Because they should. That would be a good idea.
But they are releasing a lot, like redoing a lot of those games. Live a Live is now, you can buy that on the Switch, I believe.
I probably will buy that because Live a Live is actually a very good game.
It's just
it's short too.
The thing is though, like they're re-releasing all these old like turn-based RPGs. Why won't they make a new one? If the old stuff's selling, make the new stuff.
Have you heard of Octopath Traveler?
I have, actually.
Yeah.
What a dumb name. Isn't there they came out, they have a game called like Triangle Strategy right now.
Yeah, it's,
like,
that one's actually supposed to be a lot like Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah, but Triangle Strategy? It sounds like a terrible puzzle game that you download on your phone and you have to watch ads in between every round.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have like lives, and if you mess up, then you have to wait like 2 hours unless you buy the game.
Oh, you're out of lives. Want to watch an ad for another life or pay $10 for unlimited lives for the rest of the game's history? Unless you want to install it. If you reinstall it, even though we have your same information, you have to pay again.
Pinto's been burned before.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel.
I don't have fuck you money, so I can't. Mobile games are a bad idea.
Mobile games are a bad idea, even if you have fuck you money.
Yeah, have you like read posts of people that are like, I've spent $40,000 on this game. It's just pay to win. People still are beating me. I can't. I've destroyed. I've gotten divorced. It's like, damn, man, you need to reevaluate your life strategy.
If you spend $40,000 on mobile games, I could understand why you would be divorced and be a terrible person. Like that's a lot of money.
As someone who spent an unreasonable amount of money on a mobile game, just don't play them. That's my.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Not those kind of games. Yeah, no. If you want to play like a story-based game,
download XCOM.
Well, yeah, if you want to
Final
buy a
Fantasy
game,
Tactics.
Spend $10 on a real game.
I own both of those. Like that makes sense, but don't do the ones where you have to consistently pay to then continue to play, or it's like a more pay-to-win based kind of game. Yeah, it's just not worth it.
The best deal in the game is $100 for a random pull. Don't
delete the game.
But I think Pinto, to your point about like a new RPG, just like, you know, from like the popular things, right, or the biggest of names, right, that came out with RPG games, I think it's because there's an inherent risk to those kind of games. They cost a ton of money to produce, and they're not as popular as other types of games, so they just don't want to.
You can't microtransact. Well, you could.
You can.
You definitely could. I don't want them to, but it could definitely happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not as lucrative as, you know, the next Fortnite like game or you know, even another Call of Duty or another like game like that, Madden. So like I think that we're just not seeing that anymore because those
innovation
businesses
doesn't pay the bills.
Exactly. They might try one, or they might, you know, try to do something, but there's cash cows that they can go back to. We've talked a lot about IP and like kind of brands on here. You know, Nintendo's going to continue to push out more Mario. They're not going to come out with, Mario's son necessarily, and try to push him or something because they know what works. Why would you take away the punch bowl?
Bring back Yoshi.
Tom's camera died.
Uh-oh.
It must have overheated. Sorry.
But the other thing too,
Sony.
You were too hot to handle.
The other thing too with Nintendo is like, and I've spoken on this before. Obviously, they're going to go with their cash cows like Mario, Legend of Zelda, but even the other franchises have fallen to the wayside. Star Fox,
Yep.
Metroid, like you don't even see those anymore.
Yeah.
Weren't they going to release a new Metroid?
They put out a kind of Metroid.
Okay.
Metroid.
Which is
What's it called?
sad.
Like Dark or something like that?
I forget what it is.
That sounds right, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
But it's not Metroid.
Gotcha.
It's not a Metroid. Yeah.
Metroid was that is a fantastic character. There's a lot of opportunity there, especially in that I'm going to say 16 to 35 or so age group. I think that is a good age group that would love to play Metroid kind of based games. I think there's a lot that can be done there. I'm surprised that they haven't done something with that. And same with Star Fox. It's the same group of people who I think would have loved that kind of thing, and there's a lot that you can do with that even outside of a game that people would really enjoy. You can license, to Lego Star Fox, ships or something. I'm surprised that we haven't seen.
Oh man,
Exactly.
Lego R-Wing? I would love that.
It'd be awesome. And there's already proof that Star Wars does well, so why would you not expect something like a Star
come on,
Fox
it's
to do
just
well?
Star Wars but furry.
but for furries.
But they've done Nintendo stuff. I have my question mark behind me. They have Bowser coming out in October. You can do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make more money, Nintendo. Do more.
And I'm just surprised that they haven't done that. Same as I know that people make fun of the original Mario movies and stuff, but I'm surprised that they never really tried anything else, especially
again. Yeah.
Well, with more
they're
adult.
doing Mario.
Oh, they are.
Yeah,
doing
Chris
Mario?
Pratt.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Chris Pratt is Mario.
Right,
Playing
I
DK.
forgot about
is
that.
he Mario?
I believe so.
Okay.
Chris Pratt is Mario.
Yeah.
I've been watching Parks and Rec,
It's like-
and that man should just be Andy Dwyer and nothing else.
Exactly.
Charles Martinet is still alive. Why is he not being Mario?
But why Chris Pratt as Mario? That doesn't.
Because Chris Pratt's in everything. He's Garfield too. Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone's
Well-
I know. Did you hear the silence after that? That was everyone absorbing the fact that Chris Pratt is Garfield.
There was some absorption.
Bill Murray
would
couldn't
agree.
even make Garfield great.
Yeah, and maybe I didn't hear that they were doing one.
There he
but I'm
is.
There's Tom. Hey, Tom. You're back.
For a minute.
Congrats on your Sony.
Thank you.
But yeah, I would love to see a Star Fox movie or something like that. I think that'd be so cool to do. And I think that again, those more mature kind of games and characters, I think would do actually pretty well. But it's sad that they're not seeing it, and especially as our age is getting to have kids and stuff. The idea that you could reintroduce to what you played as a 10-year-old. A Star Fox or something like that. That'd be just really cool. I'm just sad they're not doing it.
Sonic happened at least, I guess.
They did
Yeah.
try Sonic, and didn't that ended up doing pretty well after they?
The movie when they
Put out
fixed
a
it,
second.
Yeah, when they
Yeah.
fixed it,
when Sonic didn't look like a abomination.
and a creepy guy, right? Wasn't he super creepy?
It was
to
creepy.
people?
It was bad.
They made it too human, and it was
Mhm.
like, what are you
Uncanny
doing?
Valley was
Yeah.
very real.
They and that there's a new Sonic game coming out, open world.
Oh, I heard about that.
Sonic
what's that
Breath
one
of the
called?
Wild. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, Breath of the Sonic.
I just hope they make a Kirby Breath of the Wild, where you could just run around sucking up all the enemies.
Eat everything.
Yeah.
They just made that. It's
They did.
yeah.
Did they?
What's that one called?
Kirby.
Yeah, it's out now.
Kirby fully loaded.
Exactly.
Yes. Kirby half cocked. Sonic Frontiers is the one that's coming out November.
Yes.
Kirby all in
Um,
the pink.
Yes. Kirby sucked it all up. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is what it's called.
And
Yes.
it's open world?
No.
Yeah, more or less. Like there are levels, but they're like open 3D levels.
You're not on rails.
Well,
Yeah. You have to do things like eat a car and race. So
I'll check it out. I'll be honest with you guys. I've never played a Kirby game.
oh, they're
I've
fun.
never played a
They're
Kirby
adorable. So they came out for like Game Boy when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So like Kirby's Dream Land, Kirby's Dream Land 2 were on Game Boy, and they were the best. Like because you could absorb all the powers from things and fly, and like it wasn't super complex as a kid, but it was very colorful and fun and like full of diverse powers, which is really neat. And then the second one, you got to ride on animals like muskrats and hedgehogs and stuff, which is amazing. So yeah, I highly recommend Kirby. Kirby is the best. It's very simple. Like, don't expect to be doing game calculus or anything like that. Expect to eat something and then shoot stuff.
Sometimes I need that in my life, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh, there's like mini games on the Super Nintendo one. There's like a test your might like game that you can just play against your friends and stuff like that. It's bizarre. It's that's how I would describe Kirby. Kirby is fantastically simply bizarre. Take that, world. And my chinchilla was named after him.
Oh,
I miss my chinchilla.
rip.
Rest in pepperonis.
Always.
I don't know if he'd eat the pepperonis. Maybe peanuts. He'd probably eat those.
Well, so here's a question then. So after we complete Raft, we're just never going to touch it again then?
Probably.
Yeah, I would say yes and no. It'd be one of those where someone has a strong desire to play it, and everybody else is like, yeah, I haven't played that in a year or two. But I would say we're not going to touch it for a while. I do know that the makers of Raft, I think, are working on a new game. I don't think it's like Raft 2, but I think they are talking about working on another game as a group.
I
So
hope it's just Raft in space. And it's just
Too Raft, Too
three-dimensional.
Furious. Space Raft.
Yeah, and you build like gravity fields to pull in stuff instead of collection nets.
You have little guns that just goo out like a tractor beam.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see the Subnautica team make an Outer World kind of, space game. I think
They're
they would do
putting out a new game.
Yeah, I think they
Oh,
are,
yeah.
but I don't think it's the same kind of.
It's
same
not
kind of
at
thing.
all.
Yeah, but I think if they did something like that, it'd be really cool too. But they probably won't do something like that, unfortunately.
Well, then.
I don't know. I mean, games like that, like The Forest, even we didn't play for a long time, even though we enjoyed it, and there was some replayability to it. It's just, I think, for me at least, I have a tendency to say, "Welp," and that was that, and just close down a game and try to move on to one of my 8 million other games that I haven't played yet.
Exactly. To wrap up and close back to what we originally said, at least I originally said, my thing is that I loved certain experiences, but it's very hard for me to return to one unless the content is so different. So something like even DayZ, where it's like every time you play, it's a different experience, and you can make it a different experience every time. It's going to be another 6 months, and then someone's going to say, hey, why don't we play DayZ? I heard there's a new map, or I heard this server's really cool and I've been playing it again. It's like, okay, I'll jump in. Or Stardew Valley. There's probably another one for me. Whereas like, I'm not going to touch it, but I will at some point.
Those games are so fun while there's still a challenge somewhere. And once you overcome that challenge, they're nothing. So like DayZ is like when we played on that one server and cars were sparse, the challenge was how do we find more cars, get them up and running so that everyone has a car, and then it was how do we build up our base and make it better, like where we could kind of have missions. And then it was okay, then we get enough gear to try and take down the really big stronghold mission, which is really hard. And I feel like when that was the case, it was fun. Like, at least to some point, we conquered some bits, but that's where the fun was trying to build and build and build. And then they went offline for an update. They came back and it was like, hey, cars are everywhere. Everyone gets a car. You get a car, you get a car, your mama gets a car. But you can only have one. We were like, oh. So I can't have a Corvette and a fleet of taxi cabs in front of our base anymore. Like, that was all we could find were those shitmobiles. And now we could find like anything you ever wanted. And it took that edge out of the game. And other servers I've played on have been the same, because it's basically just like raise enough money to get a helicopter, and then you have a helicopter and you can go wherever you want, do everything. Like, okay, but that takes out like the hazards of having to drive a car from point A to point B and running into mischief in between and not having enough missions on the map and stuff like that, or like having to call out doing like roadblock. Like, if I could just copy that server as it existed, I think that was pretty close to perfect server at that point in time, and I would just like add other crap here and there. Even like the custom environments they had, because those were a fun exploration element. We didn't know that was out there, and then you'd find it, you'd be like, what is this giant unmarked military base? Like, this is crazy. But yeah, and it's just so hard to find servers like that too with DayZ. Like, if that's how the base game were, it would be such a better game. But anyway, I digress. I have a love-hate relationship with DayZ.
Developers whose games are floundering and starting to suck, open them to modders. They will do you a favor.
Yes. Oh yes.
That's my advice. I'm done now. Caveat, I know nothing. I know dick about developing games. So, like, take my advice with a grain of salt.
No. Take his advice with a grain of sugar.
Even if I feel like I have an idea of what like a single developer would have to do to develop a game, but
shout out Concerned Ape.
Yeah, like I kind of know what he would have to go through, but I think the bigger thing is I have no idea what somebody like a developer at EA, for example, has to go through, because when you've got people who don't know how to develop games, but you're the CEO or a project lead, and you don't know much about about games themselves, like it gets a little bit, and developing them, it gets a little bit weird, I think, for those developers to like really expand. And that's why like the small indie developers I find often are the ones that are innovating, creating new games, new experiences, even small companies, because they need to make a splash. They need to take risks. A lot of those bigger companies, like someone like EA, Blizzard, and those, they don't really take as much risk, compared to others.
Small groups and companies are visionary. Large groups and companies are eyes on stock price.
And
that's it.
That's generally how it is across the board. That's not just game development, but if we're as a gaming podcast, I'll focus my attention there.
Any other final thoughts before we end?
I love our viewers.
Ooh.
Or our listeners, depending on where you are watching from.
Mm-hmm. I love our listeners more.
Just remember that if you didn't like this topic, it's still your fault.
Yep, always.
That's
always
true.
Your fault. Do better. Do better.
I'm not afraid to call you out just because you're listening to this and you're Kia Forte driving down the road at 80 miles an hour while pondering video games.
And your name is
John.
Bobby. No, it's not John. That's the worm.
Oh,
His name's Bobby.
Sorry.
Yep, Bobby.
I mean,
Robert.
could be a worm
Robert.
in a Kia
What are you
Forte.
doing?
Yeah. So with that, thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this. You can find more of our stuff online. Just go to www.joypadpod.com.
Oh my God, Megan, what year is it?
I don't
It's
know
the year
anymore.
www.2022.com.
Holy shit. Anyway, go there. Find things that we do. Pinto likes to upload stuff, and you should consume the content. Send us your ideas, because right now this is your fault. It's not our fault. Any money-making ideas? Big fan of MLMs? Not really. I'm not. Please don't. I don't want to. Anyway, I'm gonna stop. Tom, takes out.
You
Thank
can
you.
just send us money too.
Bullet.
That's fine.
That's do that.
Or yeah, we enjoy the ramble. To be honest with you, just to pull back the veil a little bit. It's what we do. We don't mind. Sometimes we'll topic, sometimes we won't.
Mhm.
But it's still your fault for not giving us a topic. But we're fine with that. We're still joyful. You should be joyful. And I mean, when I say that, I mean you should really just stay joyful.
Great job. Bye.